Confidence isn't about having the perfect words ready. It's about having control over your tone, your emotions, and your presence. You see, real confidence shows up in how you handle yourself when the conversation gets uncomfortable. When someone interrupts, questions, or challenges you, the goal isn't to overpower them. It's to stay steady enough that your message still lands with clarity. Most people think good communication is about talking more, but it's not. It's about listening better. When you actually hear what the other person is saying, instead of just waiting for your turn to talk, you respond, not react. That's what separates confidence from defensiveness. Confidence listens. Ego interrupts. When you feel your emotions rise, take a breath before you speak. That pause is power. It's the moment where your brain catches up to your mouth, and that's where confident communication begins. You don't need to rush to prove a point. Because when you're calm, you're clear. And when you're clear, you're effective. Your tone matters more than your words. You can say the right thing the wrong way and lose the whole message. But when your tone carries patience and self-assurance, even disagreement feels respectful. People remember how you made them feel, not just what you said. So choose calm over chaos. Choose steadiness over shouting. Confidence doesn't mean you always have the answer. It means you're comfortable even when you don't. It's okay to say, "I'll think about that," or "I'm not sure yet." That's not weakness. That's composure. And composure builds credibility faster than any scripted line ever will. We often confuse confidence with control over others, but it's really about control over yourself. When you stop trying to win every argument and instead focus on staying grounded, you start communicating from a place of strength, not defense. You'll notice that people start responding to your calm energy differently. They listen more, argue less, and respect your space. Confidence also means knowing when to walk away from a conversation that's going nowhere. You don't have to fix every misunderstanding or convince someone who's already made up their mind. You simply have to protect your energy and speak with intention. Sometimes silence speaks the loudest truth of all, and if you ever feel unsure or small in a conversation, remind yourself you belong there. Your thoughts are valid, your words have weight. You don't have to sound perfect to make an impact, you just have to sound like you. The more honest and grounded you are, the more powerful your message becomes. Every confident communicator you admire wasn't born that way. They learned it through mistakes, pauses, and lessons that taught them to lead with presence, not pride. So start small. The next time you speak, slow down. Maintain eye contact. Keep your tone. Listen fully. Respond clearly. These little habits don't just make you a better communicator, they make you someone people trust. Because in the end, confident communication isn't about controlling the room, it's about controlling your response. And when you master that, you don't just speak better, you live better. Confidence isn't volume, it's clarity. Most people confuse being loud with being confident, but those two couldn't be further apart. You can raise your voice all you want, but if your message isn't clear, all people will hear is noise. Real confidence doesn't come from how much space you take up in a room, but from how calm and certain you are in what you're saying. It's not about proving your point louder, it's about expressing your truth clearer. When you understand that, your entire way of communicating changes. Think about the last time someone spoke to you with real confidence. They weren't shouting. They weren't rushing. They spoke with such calm conviction that you couldn't help but listen. That's because clarity demands attention more than volume ever could. Confidence lives in simplicity, in saying less but meaning every word. When your words are chosen with thought instead of impulse, they carry a weight that noise never can. People raise their voices when they feel unheard or uncertain. But the truly confident don't fight to be heard. They know their words matter. They don't need to dominate the room because their presence already speaks before they do. Clarity is quiet strength. It's the pause before you speak. It's taking a breath when your emotions want to take over. It's refusing to match someone's chaos just to prove you're right. That's confidence. It's not what you say under pressure. It's how you hold yourself when everything inside you wants to shout back. Confidence isn't about saying everything that crosses your mind. It's about knowing what's worth saying. The loudest voice often belongs to the most insecure person in the room. They fill the silence because they're uncomfortable with it. But the confident person uses silence as a tool. They're not afraid to wait, to think, to respond instead of react. Clarity gives them patience. It gives them power. Because when you know your intention, you don't rush to explain it. You let it be understood through how you speak and how you carry yourself. You can tell when someone is speaking from insecurity. Their words tumble out fast, their tone defensive, their energy restless. But when someone speaks with clarity, there's no tension in their voice. They don't push their point, they place it. They make space for understanding. They aren't performing, they're connecting. And that's what makes their words so powerful. Clarity doesn't need to convince anyone. It simply communicates the truth, and that's what people feel. Confidence through clarity also means being honest even when it's uncomfortable. When you speak clearly, you remove the extra noise, the exaggeration, the over-explaining, the need to impress. You simply say what you mean and mean what you say. That level of honesty takes courage because it leaves no room to hide behind words. But it's that same courage that earns you respect. People trust what's clear. They question what's loud. Clarity also protects your energy. When you focus on being clear instead of loud, you don't waste time trying to win every conversation. You stop repeating yourself just to be understood. You stop raising your voice to feel powerful. Because you realize power isn't in the volume, it's in the control. The person who keeps their composure in chaos always holds the real authority. The one who knows what they mean doesn't need to shout it. Confidence doesn't demand attention, it attracts it. You don't have to chase people to listen when your words come from a grounded place. The quietest person in the room can often be the most influential one, simply because their presence isn't desperate. They speak when it matters, and they mean what they say. That kind of clarity cuts through the noise. It leaves an impression long after the conversation ends. True confidence is built on understanding, not aggression. It's not the sharpness of your tone, but the steadiness of your message that makes people take you seriously. The goal isn't to sound important, it's to sound certain. When your words align with your values, when your emotions serve your message instead of clouding it, that's when your communication becomes unshakable. You don't need to be the loudest to be remembered. You just need to be real. You just need to speak with purpose. The moment you realize clarity is more powerful than noise, you stop competing for attention and start commanding respect. Because confidence isn't about speaking over others. It's about speaking from within yourself, calm, clear, and certain. That's what makes your voice impossible to ignore. Pause before you reply. It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest things to do when emotions are high, when someone challenges you, or when the urge to defend yourself kicks in. That tiny moment between what you hear and how you respond holds all your power. Most people waste it. They react without thinking, they speak without listening, they let emotion take the driver's seat. But those who master the pause master the conversation, because the pause isn't about silence, it's about control. When you pause, you give your mind a moment to catch up to your emotions. You separate what you feel from what you know. That space gives you clarity. It's where you decide whether to react or to respond, whether to fight or to lead. The pause keeps you from saying things you'll regret, from making temporary feelings permanent damage. It's not weakness. It's restraint. It's the kind of control that makes people respect you, even when they disagree with you. Most people believe quick responses show confidence, but the opposite is true. Confidence doesn't rush. Confidence doesn't fear silence. It listens, it observes, it chooses words carefully. When you pause, you show you're not controlled by impulse. You're guided by intention. You're not trying to win the moment. You're trying to handle it with wisdom. The pause gives you that edge. It lets the other person speak from emotion while you speak from understanding. And in any conversation, the one who stays composed always holds the real power. There's also something disarming about someone who doesn't react right away. When people expect a defensive comeback and instead meet calm silence, it throws them off balance. It changes the entire tone of the interaction. They can yell, accuse, or provoke, but your pause becomes your armor. It shows you're not emotionally available for chaos. You're not going to match their energy, you're going to rise above it. And that quiet control, it's louder than any argument you could make. Pausing before you reply also gives you a chance to listen deeply. Most people don't listen to understand.